Okay. So we have got about a couple of minutes to spare this afternoon. We didn't plan this, Joe. So I appreciate your spontaneity. So we thought that today we can come in and talk about something that's very important to us, which is a main part of our business, which is we have started professionalizing coaching in our training, and we've been doing that since 2014. We started in 2014, and then we started to pick up steam over the years. So here today we're talking about the ICI Coaching Practicum, and so the practicum is talking about essentially, when we say practicum, it's not actually a seminar, it's not a workshop, it's not a training per se, it is a practice. That's why it's called practicum, right? Yeah. And so we're going to be talking about a little bit more of that, and you are the so-called head coach in this process. So I'll be asking you a couple of questions so that the audience who are tuning in right now can actually can sink their teeth into some of the materials. Yeah. And for the sake of that we are all on the same page, we keep say ICI, and if we don't explain it, my people thought that we're talking about paint. Yeah, so ICI is a short acronym for the International Association of Coaching Institute. Yeah, the International Association of Coaching Institute, in short, it's ICI, and it's based in Germany. And so far, they are right now, I think they are into about 81. The last time I counted was about 81 countries, and we are the forerunner. We are the forerunner in Singapore, and also we are bringing it to the region as well. Yeah, okay. So let's get into it right now, Joe. Joe, what is in your own words, right? What is the ICI practicum?
The ICI practicum is what we call a practice ground, right, or a dojo for coaches to come together and practice their coaching processes, working with a wider range of people. Now, I think when we started this, it was about helping coaches to clock their hours, right? Yeah. And instead of getting coaches to in some way try to game their hours, or like you coach me, I coach you to finish my hours. I think we want to create some kind of also standard process where people can have a place where they work with people who are actually new to coaching. Yeah. And when they're new to coaching, that means some people are not yet coachable. Some people are, don't know what coaching is about. Some people are not having a certain level of self-awareness. And by you being able to work with them, then coaches can get a lot more depth and finesse in their coaching.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe I just elaborate a little bit more on depth and finesse, right?
Yeah.
Depth and finesse is like, coaching is not hard to learn, right? Because people can today learn it online, or maybe you get a lot of framework around like growth model, score model, different kinds of model, right? But like searching for recipes online, right?
Yeah.
Searching for recipe online, you can get a recipe. You can maybe even create that dish, right? But if the recipe is in the hands of a chef, right? Let's say a Michelin star chef, the level of finesse and how fine that dish will turn out to be is very different. Yeah, and that's actually what we are going for in coaching, that when coaches go through this process, they begin to develop that kind of fineness, that finesse in their coaching, that when they graduate from this program, if they were to stand beside a coach, let's say with 5 years or 6 years of experience, and the coach is new, right? No one can tell the difference, because that finesse that they have is really, really fine. There's a certain level of depth and certain level of a flow in the coaching process that the coach is able to take people through. Yeah. Okay. So that's how I define it.
Okay. Yeah. So and I kind of capture the word that you said just now earlier on, is about the dojo. So the dojo is a Japanese terminology whereby it is a place where a practitioner, and it can be a practitioner of any art form or any skill. It can be a technician, it can be a pianist. In our case, it is a coach. It is a coach that you have an area of expertise, or an area of expertise you want to get into, but you turn it into a daily routine. That's what a dojo is. Yeah, a dojo is a routine. You can't get, even people who are very good at what they are doing, right? If they don't get in touch with that routine, right, they don't actually reinvent the process, or they don't get into the magical wonder of their process if they don't peel into the details of it. So that's what I relate to this notion about finesse in terms of what you're saying. Yeah. So in short, what you just said is that the ICI Practicum is a place where people who are NLP trained, we are an NLP school. NLP is synonymous with what we call personal development and coaching. Just to give a little bit of background, coaching is in somewhat aligned to this notion about positive psychology, which is looking at people who are whole, who are doing well, rather than psychology basically study people who are sick, right?
Yes.
So NLP, right, in that sense, qualify as a coaching methodology simply because we're not necessarily focusing on studying people who are sick, how they develop a particular disease. We're looking at how people actually make their lives better, make the lives of other people better. We're looking at luminaries, people who are very good at what they do. And part of these people that we model, right, are people who are coaches, who are leaders, who are managers, right, who are influencers, and then everything else. So, so I got you on that. And so the NLP program for us is about creating that the practicum with the dojo, so that they can come back and practice their skill. And then people, as what you said, that people come in at different stages, the stages of their skill set, right? Some people are skilled, some people have no idea at all, but through the process, they are beginning to be able to adjust and level out. And those people who are very good at what they are doing, they also get a chance to be able to take the newly learned NLP and weave it into their coaching process. There's a progress for everybody regardless of whatever level that you are at. So I'd like to move on to the next question.
Before you move on, right, I just want to build on this point, right, on dojo, right?
Yeah.
Now, there are no amount of certification can get people the confidence that they need to get as a coach.
Yeah.
Right. And today, anyone with the time and money can get as many certification as you want. And this is also a certification program. But we are trying to bridge that gap of confidence, right? That certification don't give people. And that confidence comes from when you train in a dojo, right? Is that you get more consistent in getting results with people.
Yeah.
Like when people ask you, can you coach me? You say yes straight away without blinking an eye. You are so confident of what you can do, right? That's what we are going
exactly.
after.
Yeah. So, and just to add on to what you're saying, I like that quote, right? Practice your skill to a point where even confidence is not needed. Where even confidence die. You practice until confidence is not necessary anymore because it's just the way you do things every single day. But people don't get to that level of that comfort, right? If they don't stay in the dojo, and they don't stay in the dojo. And so we create a dojo, literally a dojo, for people to be able to work with people who have got no experience, people who are newbies, and people with some experience in terms of working with coaching modalities and so on and so forth, right? So I'm going to move on to the next question right now because we have a very tight time.
Okay.
Can you give me 2 examples, right, of the practical changes that you've seen in the coaches that you work with?
Okay, the top one on my mind is our coaches are getting paid clients, and a lot of them are getting paid clients even before they fully graduate from the program, right? And people are like saying, hey, I want to pay you for a service. And the good news of this is also that some of these clients have a coach beforehand, but when they switch to this new coach, right, who is training in the dojo, right, and using this NLP, multiple intelligence NLP methodology, they are getting good results and they like what the new coach is taking them through. So I have a few examples to quote, like people like Edwin, I think Joanna as well. Yeah, a few of them who are going through this process. The other part is the coaches stop thinking about 5 steps ahead what to do with the client. They are becoming more into the now, right? They are able to tune into the client in the process, and they know how to navigate their coaching process. They're not like, what do I do next? How do I coach this person? What's the right way? What's the right question to ask? So you get to that space where you're so comfortable at what you can do, and you are confident that you will get somewhere, but you are not too fixated that you must land the person somewhere, right? Then you have a lot of confidence.
Yeah, and just to add on to what you're saying is, I think that part of my own learning process is that sometimes the first session is not so much about getting the visible hard results, right? Actually, we are still getting results, but we're getting the invisible results. The invisible result for people to be able to feel very comfortable talking about their challenges. They're not trying to put a facade in front of you. start to unfold their own thoughts, beliefs, and emotion behind something. So they are unpacking themselves right now.
Yeah.
So we are doing a lot of what we call information gathering and putting the information into the right kind of a framework so that when we backtrack the whole situation, right, people know exactly where they are at, and therefore we can then come to an agreement where the focal point, the focal to be, right? And it is a priority. So that doesn't seem like a lot of what we call breakthrough result in one session per se. But it's actually but to get to that part of the conversation, right, a lot of time people, in fact, that is quite a hard result already. But before getting there, right, there's this soft part, which is the totally invisible portion of it, right? Which is about the way you show up, your level of sensitivity, your patience, their time you are able to kind of like, get enough detail. Sometimes you're able to get the general concept first. So the amount of information you manage at any point in time. So all that, right, is part and parcel of that so-called getting results with the client.
Yes. And by you saying that, right, sometimes people say, hey, this client not coachable, right? Then the question I would ask the coach is, how are you showing up as a coach, right? Not that the client is definitely not coachable, but sometimes it's the way you show up, right, that enables the client to want to be coached.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's what you're saying. And that actually is not just how much certification you have, it's how you are as a person as well that you are showing up, right? How you hold that conversation, right?
Yeah, I think that the fluffy part about it is fluffy because it talks about a person's level of maturity, a certain level of maturity, not maturity and anything, your maturity in your field, And so sometimes the first session is they're not coachable in the sense not because you have a certain expectation of what a coaching should look like, and therefore that person is not coachable. On the other side, there are also times whereby people, they are in a space whereby they're not looking for a coaching relationship yet. They're looking for more of some kind of a therapeutic or more counseling, a therapy or more counseling kind of relationship where people get a chance for them to be able to say, nobody understand me. I need you to understand the pain that I'm in right now. Why I got myself into this space. So that is also part of the coaching process, but it is basically about creating that space for people to really open up, talk about substantial items rather than superficial stuff, or they just don't want to interact with you, or they don't think that anything is going to make a difference. That getting out of that space, right, and say, okay, I get a better understanding now. I think I can do something about it. Just that alone, we haven't talked about the outcome, but just that alone is one of the most important steps, right, that they need to move forward. So that's part of the conversation you're talking about. Okay, so I want to move on to the next point right now. Next point is, what do you want the coaches to walk away with? What do you want the coaches to walk away with? And what's the value of that? I mean, when you do these dojo processes, right? What do you want the coaches to walk away with? I believe you have. I know that you have what we call general framework, and you have certain things that you frame and get people to practice and so on and so forth. Could you just walk us through some of those things? And why is that? Why are you emphasizing on those things?
The first thing that comes to my mind is coaching beyond logic. Okay, let me elaborate that a little bit. Coaching beyond logic is building on the assumption that people already know what is good and right for them. However, why are they not taking action on doing the change that they need to, right? Because there's some kind of misalignment going on inside. Now, a lot of coaches that I know, they are very fixated on asking the right questions, because question is like the gateway into the person's world, right? So you want to really get good at it, right? Nothing wrong about that. But the right question also need to land at the right timing. And the right timing takes a different set of micro skills to get there. It takes, number one, right, you're able to see the deeper structure in people. How is their internal programming like, right? How is that, conflicting or working against or for them? That are they aware or not aware of? One. Two, you want to have very good observation skills, right? Observation skills that you are able to see the person's shift in their emotional patterns, maybe their body language, non-verbal. Is it telling you that they are ready to move forward or they're not ready to move forward? You want to be able to have that keenness to be able to observe, right? And then the other part is finesse, right? It's like, how much do you push the client? How much do you hold back? When do you keep asking, probe them a little bit more, right? When do you not do that, right? That is finesse, right? So all that is the going beyond the logical of finding solution in the IQ space of knowing. It is the whole person that we're looking at, right? And if you master that skill, then if I crystallize it, right, is you begin to see where the growth point is for the person. You are able to, through a conversation, explore the growth point, and you're able to target your questions or your methodology or process for people to explore those areas a bit more, and then they gain a tipping point, right? And those are what I think a lot of coaches will say aha moments. So in other words, aha moments are not by chance that you get there, you see. There are processes, there are skills, there are tools, there are frameworks, there are micro skills that you hone, right? That you become more consistent in getting these kind of results. And you can get it again.
And would you be able to share maybe just one or two of those frameworks that you normally bring the coaches through?
Okay. The core of our coaching methodology is the complete score model, right? The complete score model that we teach in the NLP Master Practitioner level. That is the core, right? Now, it's a very extensive process that combines people's where they are right now, where are they moving forward, and where are the challenges and things like that. But there is also is what we call a 3D model, because 3D model in the sense that you are looking at a person's also internal structure of their values and belief system, identity structure. And we bring in Enneagram personality lens as well to see how the person's Enneagram personality is acting up or not acting up, for them, right? But beyond that, there are also non-verbal information that's coming to us, right? So these are things like how is their thinking pattern wired? Are they towards challenges or away from challenges, for example, right? Meta programs. I mean, some of these terms I can always elaborate in another conversation, but I think people who know NLP, you will know what we are talking about, right? The other part is being able to watch and also sense and pace their emotional state. Because even you have the right and most profound questions, right? If you ask it at the wrong time, or the person's emotionality is not ready, right? Then you're not going to get the results, right?
So the notion about I'm trying to get enough paper because there's so many good stuff.
I'm like kind of slowing down now so you can catch up.
I ran out of paper. So, and we are also running out of time. So, but I thought there's so many good stuff that we might want to make sure that we don't miss out any of the good stuff. So what about is the complete
score.
Let me just write that down. Which is an information gathering process. And then you also brought in this notion about the Enneagram.
The Enneagram personality lens. Personality structure, core motivation.
And then we're talking about this idea about meta
programs. The values and belief part is actually the logical levels of change. Logical levels of change. And then finally, we talk about energy and emotional state.
Okay, I'm sorry, I ran out of paper. I'm sorry. Right, so you're talking about a complete score, which is the information gathering process. The Enneagram is a personality system. It is in its field. It's a field by itself. It's a very complex field. It's for almost about 40 or 50 years. But if you were to sloppily sum it up, is to understand the core fear and the core motivation or core desire of someone, right? That is the very thing that pushes them or pull them away from something, the thing that drives them or pull them back in every aspect of their lives, right? Relationship, career, meaning and purpose, and so on and so forth. The meta program is basically a different form of filters that we use to be able to understand information and what is happening around us. So you mentioned is someone motivated by the carrot, which is towards, or someone is actually motivated by the pain, which is away from. But we have a nice way to frame it so that we know these are things that drives them, and we know how to be able to speak it in the language that they can understand.
Yeah.
And the next one is logical levels, which is part of those levels, right? We're talking about values and beliefs, values and beliefs, but there are also things like capabilities, right? And also this idea about our behavior and so on and so forth. Yeah. And then you talk about emotion, in terms of emotion.
Yeah.
So that's really a lot of skill set or tools that you're working with. And then you started off talking about earlier on about coaching beyond logic.
Yes.
Means when you say that, there's a presupposition, right? There are other form of logic. There are other form of intelligence. Yeah. So I just want to make sure that we are able to kind of emphasize on that. And when you say multiple intelligence, that's what we are referring to. We're talking about the intellect, the emotion, the physical
body intelligence. Yeah.
And then we talk about the spiritual, right? Spiritual is talking about people sense of purpose. They are driven by something bigger than themselves. There's something that goes beyond just the material tangible things. They have got something higher, a higher purpose. It could be the family, it could be society, it could be anything else that gives them the motivation to go and do something especially when things are difficult. So having said that, right? I mean, any of these topics, we can actually talk about this for the next, 2 hours, and we still won't finish it. But I think people have got a general idea of what that is. So typically, right, for you, what would you say are if we were to move up the conversation, right, what are some of the skill set that you would say that coaches need to have when they finish their coaching training and everything else, right? What is it that they will end with that they can immediately use, or they will be using when they're actually going out to coach?
Right. The first thing, just to build on the previous point on all these things that we talk about, right?
Yeah.
Now, when you sit down and coach a person, right, there are a lot of information coming to you, right? Now, the question is, are you able to pick out those information? Right. So, for example, every person, the presupposition of the multiple intelligence NLP is every person has got IQ, EQ, PQ, and SQ. Right. The question is, are you able to see that? Right. So, having a framework to be able to capture this information that's coming to you, that'll be number one. A certain mental framework that guides your coaching process and the way you gather information, the way you are able to guide your questioning skill. A lot of people ask me, how do you ask the right question at the right time? I say, have a framework in your mind and you know where are the areas that you want to explore a little bit more with people. So framework, questioning, two skill set already, right?
Yeah, I think so. What you're trying to say is also that using this information gathering, you're trying to get to a point of for the sake of convenience, right? To as short as possible to understand what their growth points. What are their growth points?
Yes, development areas.
It's not a psychic process, right? It's like I gather information to try and say where is the growth point. The growth point can also be what we call the stress point.
Exactly.
So stress and growth is kind of like mirror opposite of each other, right? We in coaching, we talk about growth point. What's the points of growth for them to get to that point, right? And what's the next step after that?
Okay, then the next step is that, so besides that, the one point I want to add on is that there is also your observation skills. You want to be able to really observe, take in information, but not get lost in that information. It's another level of skill, right? The fourth one is processes, right? So multiple intelligence NLP coaching is experiential. You have processes that you're able to guide people to explore their inner world, right? Such that they gain that deeper understanding and knowing how not to work against themselves, how to develop a new behavioral flexibility, new mental cognitive flexibility and range, emotional range, right, to deal with that situation. But you can't sit down and talk it out. You have to take them through certain process that their body starts to reprogram and reorganize itself. That's that intelligence that we are aiming for, right? But as an ICI coach, right, you are not just going for the recipe book and just go through the process. You learn how to create processes on the fly. Adapt it to each person. The way they are, what's their maturity level, what's their emotionality like, and different makeup, right?
So and my understanding of that is that the punchline for you is about how to create processes on the fly, and it's driven towards using the multiple intelligence as a framework to help people to in somewhat ignite something in them, right? That they want to do something for themselves, or they realize they can do something for themselves, right? It's not, but the point what you're saying is not just in here. It's actually something that could be in the heart space. It could be the what we call the general body space, or it could be something, right? There's a sense of being. There's some kind of vision they are going after. There's something of purpose or vision they are after, which is SQ, right? SQ, right? So essentially, is to use what we know and to ignite people is to get a sense that they can do it on their own. There's somewhat of a buy-in, but it's just a space that I can do something about it. I now realize that there's something I can do. Therefore, then I can own it. I can influence the outcome in that sense.
There's one more point I want to add is this part about core states, right? Okay, core states is probably something fluffy to a lot of people, right? Okay, let me see. Let me try to explain it as simple as possible. Okay, core state is actually the invisible factor of coaching because it talks about how you show up as a person, as a coach when you are in that session, right? And do clients feel your confidence? Do clients feel your compassion? Do clients feel that you are open to explore, right? Because all this feeling that is invisible, right? They don't know how to articulate it, but the experience that you are able to take them through, right? By mastering the state that you are and how you ask, the state that you are when you ask questions or take them through a process. This is that invisible factors that makes the coaching session safe, allow people to explore and so on. So in our term, we call it core states or energetic influence. So this skill is I'll find it very, very important one.
So again, I just want to make sure that we capture all the good stuff here.
Gonna make you work very hard today.
I'm not working. I'm just having fun right now. So this idea about core states got to do with confidence, compassion, openness, and joyfulness. We just ran out of space here. Joyfulness, and this is the so-called is the non-verbal portion of it. It is also not something that they can actually see. They can actually see, but even if they see it, they may not recognize that it's something that they are seeing per se, but it's something that more that they are feeling. So it becomes an energy field, right? That we create, right? To be able to say how people come in together with us, we create a space for them to co-share a space, to co-create a solution together. And that whole idea about this core state, right, is to create a space whereby the coach and the coachee is no longer working against each other. I mean, if the coach and coachee becomes one consciousness or one mind with separate so-called capabilities and separate so-called points of view, right? Then it can actually amalgamate and create a solution in a sense. So I think that a lot of time that half of the energy is wasted, half of the energy is actually drained, right? Between the tension and the coach and the coachee.
Absolutely, yes.
So it's almost like whatever you're trying to do is doubly hard, because there's a barrier to begin with. And the barrier is not just about anything else. It's about the state that you are in. You call it the way of being. I call it some kind of the energy that we are in, which is about whether there's a sense of calmness or certainty, or you can call it confidence.
And some people call it being.
Compassion, compassion or openness or joyfulness. That there's a certain lightheartedness that they feel that they are at ease with you, right? Or there's a sense of like you're open, that they can actually share ideas without being judged and all this stuff. So these are important, what we call aspect of the coaching process, which what you're saying is not just a touchy-feely thing, but it's something that you work at inside the dojo.
And it also comes from the way you see people, your mindset, right? That actually drives it. You can have all the techniques in the world, But the way you see people, or you're constantly trying to prove yourself, or all these things, right, it will leak out of you, right? So that dojo is also where we are able to see ourselves more clearly, and we get feedback, right, openly, and we work on it.
Yeah, so you call it mindset. So this idea is what is kind of like your reality. What are the ingredients that make up your reality? And because that ingredients that you have that makes up your reality will leak out of you, and most likely leak out of you that you're not even aware of. So how do you use that dojo to be able to those practice session, right? To use that to be able to refine your process so that you can get to a point whereby you can actually create a space where people can be open, people can be feel that they are sure with you. People get sense that there are things that is a certain form of optimism, that people feel that a sense that they can actually be fully understood and not be judged. So those are what we call the core states. So we're done. Unfortunately, we ran out of time, but if there's one thing that we could finish off with right now is how would you explain, right? How would you explain in your own words why you're doing this, right? So emphatically, so passionately. Why? Because there's so many work in our field, right? I mean, in our work, there's so many aspects. We are all wearing multiple hats. We are a small company. Why are you doing this with so much emphasis and so much passion? Why?
Crossing over to a profession is not an easy journey. Took me 5 years to get my first paying client. That's a real story. And in that 5 years, right, it's a constant struggle of, am I good enough? Am I there yet? And are people able to see my value? If I name this fee, how will it be? That struggle, right? But on hindsight, right, to me, it's about confidence and that inner knowing of what is the value you can bring to each session. And that comes from your training. So when I work with coaches, right, okay, maybe I just share this. I see a polarized market. I mean, overgeneralizing, right? But a polarized market where on one end, right, there are many coaches who really want to help others, and they really have that intention, and they're training so hard and paying so much money to do that, right? But they're not getting clients. On the other hand, right, there are people who charge sky-high prices and things like, and many of them don't even have a certification, by the way, right? So this is the polarized market, right? But I think there's somewhere in the middle zone is where you can make a living doing the work that you like. You can make a living coaching. You can make a living helping people. And that's my belief. I'm an idealist, by the way, right? Yeah, that's my belief, right? But that first got to do with you want to get yourself to a space where you are confident you can get a result with people. People can see that in you, that enthusiasm, that confidence, that competence that you have, and they want to work with you in coaching. Yeah, that's one. The second passion I have is because coaching is now another polarized way of saying is, in the past, right, people will go to see a doctor when their body is sick, or they go to see a psychologist when their mind is sick, right? But now coaching is that middle portion where people are wanting to say, hey, I'm actually doing very well, but I want to be better. So this is getting more available in the market. So it's a profession right now. And you can do a lot of good, make a lot of difference in people's lives, right? And I want to be able to say that I have this ability to contribute to raise the standard of the market, the standard of coaches that's available in the market, such that more people can meet coaches who can get the job, going forward with them, effect shifts, partner with them to move forward. So these are what I wake up to. And my job is not done because I'm still working on my process. I'm still trying to make this dojo even better. I mean, that's me.
Well, if people are listening right now, then that's a very reason why they would want to get involved with you, because for you, it never ends. You're never complacent. You're never satisfied. You're constantly refining yourself every single time, every single day, every single session. You're refining your process. And also just want to say that based on what you just said, right, that we are done really. We're done with is that for you is your own personal journey to get to a point whereby, in my own words, you earn the right in your own mind to be able to charge a client and to be able to say charging that fee is totally congruent with you, right? A smaller chunk of that, right? A simpler chunk of that, right, is that for people who are actually building up their coaching business is to be very clear, crystal clear. what is the value that you can confidently bring to your clients. And you dedicate yourself constantly working on those things that you can deliver. Because once you are clear about that, right, charging people a fee is much easier. It's much easier because you know that once I agree, these are the things that I will work with you. I will bring you from here to the best of my ability. And I'm not just saying it, I'm working with you. So it's like I'm taking a paid job, and I am clear of what I'm going to do, and I'm going to give 120% into the work, and therefore I get paid.
Yep.
I get paid. I have no doubt. I'm not sure. I don't know. No, I know exactly what I'm going to do. Yeah. So that getting into that space requires a bit of time. And part of the getting to the space where you know what you're doing is about the dojo. Comes back to the dojo. If you don't get to your dojo, then the whole process may take a long time to get to that space. Yeah. Okay. And then also to add on to what you're saying, right? Coaching has become a very important skill set today because of the VUCA world. For the sake of everybody who is not familiar with these terms, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. These are the 4 factors that drive every aspect of our life right now. Biologically, environmentally, commercially, economically, all the change processes that we are talking about, right, is influencing each other right now. So in an ever-changing world, rapid changing world, right, training has become less and less complete by itself. I mean, you can go for a training, right? But the training usually a lot of time is actually fixed, right? But when you go to an actual place in your life, in your workplace and your life, your workplace or your life or your business environment, it's not fixed. It's changing. So coaching becomes the kind of like the bridging, right, between what you know, what you have learned new, and how do we actually work with someone or work with ourselves or work with someone, right, who's able to help you adapt that knowledge, right, into your practical changing world on a daily basis, to adapt your processes so that it becomes relevant. Therefore, it lands through the process of coaching. So coaching has become vital in what we call the 21st century because of the VUCA world as well, because it can customize the process as you move. Right? So I want to make that clear as well. Make that clear and what we were saying. So our time is up, Joe. I'm going to get lunch. I'm sure you're going to get your lunch. Your wife is very ready. Hijack you.
Yes. No, you hijack me.
So I'm going to let you go right now. So I think we had a very good discussion. Our time is up.
Yes.
And for those of you watching right now, if you want to get involved with us, you can go to mindtransformation.com and mindtransformations.com, right? Or drop us a message here. We can send you some information, and you can then read up from there. We have quite a lot of tools. That one of my favorite one is the self-mastery audit. Self-mastery audit, to be able to get some kind of inventory of what are the skill set that you need to be able to survive in the 21st century somewhat. And then from there, we can begin a conversation with you on how to be able to increase your skill to be relevant in what we call the 21st century. So, so that's my pitch, my short pitch. We're done. Bye, Joe.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.